Welcome everybody to the SledgeHammer Wrestling Show, your source for news, rumors, and highlights from the world of professional wrestling. This is our very first YouTube exclusive broadcast. Thank you for joining us. If you like what you hear, please hit that like button down below. Leave a comment if you want. And don't forget, if you really like us, I'll be your very best friend if you hit that subscribe button and stay in touch with the show. I'm Nick Nightmare, and here are today's top stories. Oh yeah. Leading off with the news that Big Bill Goldberg is in the Big Apple this weekend. That's right, everybody. Goldberg is doing promotion for his upcoming appearance as a pre-order exclusive downloadable character for the WWE 2K17 video game. Also, it is of note to say that the 2K17 video game also features the Beast, Brock Lesnar, as its cover athlete for the game's package. Why is this big news? Well, because the biggest story circulating around this news today is it seems that during these promotional events, Brock Lesnar and Goldberg have been given little digs at one another. Brock Lesnar pretty much telling Goldberg he's next, and Goldberg replying pretty much with, "Come, try your best." What does this mean? Does this mean that we are going to see Brock versus Goldberg 2 before the end of this year? Possibly coinciding with the release of said video game, or even further down the line at WrestleMania. Now, a lot of people are poo-pooing this idea. I happen to love it. I think it's going to be great. What a lot of people understand, everybody's complaining, oh, well, they didn't have a great match at WrestleMania 20. It was a stink fest. It was a botch fest. But it's very important to point out that at that said pay-per-view, both of these guys already checked out. The crowd knew. They knew. They didn't come out there with anything to prove. They were both fed up. They both didn't even want to be part of the event at all. It's no wonder they went out there and stunk it up. Let's fast forward to present day Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg. Could be built to be the biggest fight of the year. Brock Lesnar is who he is. Bill Goldberg can come in, promote the game, maybe have a few matches on the roster, go through guys like Mark Henry and Kane in the Big Show, and then go forward to this match with Brock Lesnar. But Goldberg would have to understand that Brock needs to win, because Brock's beaten The Undertaker, which makes Brock the biggest, baddest man in the company. And the next person that beats Brock Lesnar is going to be the face of the future of this company. So it needs to be somebody like Samoa Joe, or Shinsuke, or whoever they deem the true next future athlete to be the face of the company to be. I think it'll be great. I think both of these guys will go in there with chips on their shoulder and something to prove. And we're going to end up getting a great match. Because Goldberg doesn't want to look bad. He wants to come back. He probably wants to get in the Hall of Fame with everybody else. This would be his first foot in the door. Brock Lesnar will put Goldberg over. Probably end up winning the match. It would be a fantastic build. Well, at least if I was booking it. I mean, I've already come up with something a little better than we'll probably even get. We probably won't get it at all. It might just be hype to promote the video game. The match might never come to fruition, but this is what I'm reading. And I'm liking it. I like the idea. I think it would be highly entertaining. Even if they went off TV. And, Brock went away and Goldberg went away after promoting the thing. They can continue their feud a la John Cena versus The Rock. Encounters in the public, social media, back and forth. The wrestling world will be all over it. They don't even need to be on TV. I think it'll work. I think it'll be great for all parties involved to be printing lots and lots of money. If, of course, it's done right. And their recent track record has proven that is not the case, but we could always hope for the best. In other news, circling the rumor mill today, The Undertaker may be making an appearance at SummerSlam, which I don't mind at all. Love The Undertaker anytime I see him. Perhaps he's here to be the reason John Cena loses to AJ Styles and start to set up WrestleMania? John Cena versus The Undertaker? Maybe last time we see The Undertaker? I don't know. We'll see. Let's start to talk about this weekend show's SummerSlam, looking to weigh in at about 6 hours long with 11 matches. I'm praying that they make it worth my time. That's a lot of hours, a lot of time invested in one show. It's a lot to ask. But as I said before, this card is stacked. It is looking to be amazing. If these guys all go all out, we are going to have a great show on our hands this Sunday in the Barclays Center. Now let's get started with our match previews and predictions. We'll start off with Saturday's NXT Takeover 2. Match number 1 going to be Austin Aries versus No Way Jose. Jose is great. Austin Aries is an amazing, amazing heel. Jose is going to turn out to be a great face. The potential's here for a great match, for a showstopper. However, I foresee Aries coming out on top at the end, and this feud will probably continue throughout the year, being one of the hottest ones to develop in NXT. We also have the Women's Championship, Asuka versus Bayley, another match that could potentially burn the house down and be what fans are talking about when this thing's all said and done. Bayley going to be a house of fire out there, but Asuka gets the W. Bayley finally gets promoted, and Asuka moves on to her next opponent, most likely, the debuting Ember Moon, who will be taking on NXT mainstay Billie Kay. Billie Kay getting a nice big push right now, but Ember Moon will win this match. I do not think she's going to lose her first match, no matter who it might be against, and go on, as I said, to face Asuka down the line for the title. Then we have Gargano and Ciampa versus The Revival for the NXT Tag Team titles. Not really much to say that hasn't already been said. The competitors alone tell the story. These are two hard-hitting, amazingly talented teams, and it's going to be happening. Don't you dare miss it. Ciampa and Gargano probably going to take the straps from The Revival, new NXT champions, in my opinion. The highly anticipated debut of the glorious one himself, Bobby Roode. Glorious! I love doing that. Bobby Roode will be taking on Andrade Cien Almas. There's no way Bobby's going to lose his debut match either. Much like I said about Ember Moon, it's just not going to happen. Bobby's going over. I'm sure Andrade is going to look phenomenal, both of these guys. Bobby Roode could wrestle a mop, so Andrade is going to look great. I hope they change his name, but Bobby Roode coming out with the victory. And finally, on that card, the main event, the NXT Championship, Samoa Joe versus Shinsuke Nakamura. This one is going to be brutal, you guys. Has Shinsuke really gotten under the skin of Samoa Joe? I believe he might have pushed Joe a little too far, and he's a little overly angry, and that he's going to expend himself too greatly, too quickly, and Shinsuke's going to play with him. He's going to mess with him. It's going to get to Joe, and somehow Shinsuke, Kinshasa, right to the face of Samoa Joe. I really do believe we're going to have a new NXT champion tonight, and that is my predictions for the NXT show on Saturday, which brings us to the biggest party of the summer, as everybody likes to say, SummerSlam. But before we get started with the rundown and the predictions, we're going to get to that in just a second. Another rumor circulating around the Brock Lesnar Randy Orton match is that it's going to close the show, which in my opinion is a very bad move. Even if something big like The Undertaker or Bill Goldberg come out and interfere and cost Brock the match, or just stand there and serve as a distraction for Brock, even though some may argue this features two of the company's three biggest names on the current roster, and it is an interbranded match. Nothing should close a pay-per-view except for a title match, World or Universal. They want to emphasize the importance, and you want us to believe in this Universal title. It should be the end of the show today. You're talking about all this New Era stuff, and the New Era has finally arrived, but the main event of the first pay-per-view of the New Era, the interbranded New Era, is going to feature stars that have been here for more than 15 years. As they like to keep saying, 15 years in the making. There's been no making over the last 15 years. These guys have barely even crossed paths. They came up together in OVW. So what? A lot of people came up from OVW from that time frame. It doesn't make it a big deal because Cena was there when Randy Orton was there, and they've had a bazillion matches since then. Even that could have been booked more as 15 years in the making. There's more history between the two. You're going back to 15 years ago when they first started out, which isn't really relevant today. But then you want to tell us this is the time of the New Era, and you're not even going to go off the air with the first championship of the New Era and emphasize the importance of what it is and lead into Monday Night Raw with that. No, they're probably going to go with Brock and Randy in some kind of a big surprise deal, which is going to lead us into our predictions. SummerSlam card looks to be fantastic. A couple of little exceptions. They'll be good matches, but I mean they're not anything special. Case in point, the 3-on-2 women's match, which was supposed to be 3-on-3 before we lost All Red Nothing. Boo hoo. Boo hoo. We're all so sad. Who cares? I'm curious to see if Natalya and Alexa are going to have somebody else in their corner to fill that void. Are they going to pull somebody up? Maybe throw Nia Jax in there? It's interbranded, it doesn't matter. Maybe they'll pull her along, get her up, and take on Naomi, Carmella, and Becky. And then that match doesn't really matter who wins. No. If Nia Jax is brought up, they will win. They'll want to push, maybe put over Nia. But I don't really think that's going to happen. You know, she'd be the only woman representing Raw in that match, so it wouldn't really make too much sense. It'll probably remain just being 3-on-2, and they'll further along this story and give Eva Marie more heat with the girls for not showing up at the match. That's probably more than likely what happens, and Naomi, Carmella, and Becky come out on top with the win. Then we got match 1 of the best of 7, Cesaro versus Sheamus. Cesaro will probably take the first one. That's just a shot in the dark, because it doesn't really matter. I just think he's more over to get him the win in Brooklyn, since there's going to be 6 more after this one. I don't think it matters. I think they go out, give Cesaro the W, get the crowd to pop. Following that, probably got the Crews-Miz match for the Intercontinental title. Apollo Crews, as I previously stated in other shows, I don't really believe is ready for the title strap. Probably Miz will retain, and then they'll continue this storyline leading up into, most likely, Backlash. In which case, it'll give us time maybe to get into Apollo a little more. I know he's high on management. He's got some fan support. He just needs to let us in a little more, expand his character a little more. Maybe The Miz could bring that out of him. The Miz is, he doesn't show us anything he hasn't shown us before. So in the ring, he's a little bland. He's always a presence. He's a remnant of the previous era who needs to be there to put over the new guys. I think he'll be able to do that with Apollo Crews. These 3 matches that I just predicted, I believe that these 3 matches will probably be all on the pre-show. Remember, we got the show starting at 5 o'clock, which means there's 2 hours of pre-show stuff. So they'll probably feature at least 3 matches. These are my 3 matches that I believe will be on the card because they've proven they don't respect the Intercontinental title, as with the previous build leading into this match, and in pay-per-views past where the Intercontinental title has often been featured as a pre-show match. So they'll probably start off the main show. The first match, in my opinion, will be Enzo and Cass versus Jericho, the beautifully named team of Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. This match is going to blow the house down. The crowd's going to go off for hometown heroes here. Enzo from Jersey, Cass from Queens, New York. We're smack dab in Brooklyn. The fan support's going to be forget it. As I said in yesterday's podcast, last year they were getting cheered for, and they weren't even on the show. They were nowhere in the vicinity of SummerSlam for the crowd to see, and they pretty much hijacked SummerSlam 2015 during the Sheamus and Randy Orton match, chanting for Enzo and Cass, and I expect much of the same here, even though in New York, Jericho and Kevin Owens are over. It may be 50-50 when they come out as crowd reactions go on the entrances, but throughout the match, expect a lot of how you doings, and I expect them to get their hands raised at the end. And I very much hope that Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens maybe continue as a tag team, because they're very entertaining, they make a great team, and I would hate to see that dissolve so quickly. Hopefully they don't, have them bump into each other and start some kind of feud between the two of them, because their chemistry together as partners, I think, has a long way to run, and hopefully they let that go. Then we got John Cena and AJ Styles. It's going to be no surprise here. John Cena is going away to do some filming for some other stuff. He's going to be gone for a while. AJ Styles is going to win clean finally and be proclaimed pretty much as the face of that brand while John Cena is away. We got the Rusev-Roman Reigns title match that we saw 6 days ago on Raw, and I expect the exact opposite to happen. I think Rusev is going to win this match, keep his U.S. title. Roman still has a long way to go. Hopefully this loss will kickstart him into something new. Maybe he'll be off TV a little while and then come back and debut something new about himself. I don't know. I only hope for him, because he's a good talent. He has the potential, but he has no charisma. So he needs to work on his presence. Maybe don't speak so much. Why not walk around and be the quiet guy? Just give lots of stares and be intimidating. We'll see. Then the World Tag Team title match. The New Day versus Gallows and Anderson. New Day, Xavier and Kofi, minus Big E. Not much of a build for this feud, but it's been pretty amusing. A lot of comic acts, a little skits here and there, as we've all seen, with the eggs, the huevos in the jaw. It's very funny. But this match is not going to be funny. This match is going to be serious. There's going to be some smash mouth wrestling. Gallows and Anderson are going to walk away with the straps. They're going to add these belts to their already impressive resume. And the Gallows and Anderson era will begin at SummerSlam. Then we have, as we already talked about, Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton. They're going to go at it. I really don't know what they're going to do between Brock Lesnar's positive test, if they're going to punish him by getting a loss to Randy here. I just hope it's not a clean loss, because Brock Lesnar, as we all know, beat The Undertaker. And even though he is Randy Orton, I don't believe he's of the status to beat the man that beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania, clean in the ring, and essentially take the legend of The Undertaker with him as he rides off into the twilight of his career here, because he's not got much time left, but he still has some stuff to offer. Instead of wrestling Brock Lesnar, he should be wrestling somebody from the new era, maybe trying to get some of these guys over. Same for Brock. They could have picked somebody to feed to Brock, and I wouldn't think it would squash them, because it's Brock. So you could put anybody against Brock. If they lose, you expect it, because it's fucking Brock Lesnar, you guys. So why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you lose? Anybody would lose to Brock Lesnar. So my hope is that he's going to win, and that is my prediction, that he will end up with the win. But knowing the WWE, for some reason, they'll find a way for him to lose. WWE Women's Championship, Sasha Banks versus Charlotte. Another match that speaks for itself. We know what these girls are capable of. I expect nothing but the best. They're probably going to want to outdo the rest of the matches on the card. As I've said previously, and it has been noted, they're the only women's match on the main card, because I really do believe the other women's match is going to be bumped to the pre-show. And even if it's not, that's the match that's going to put women's wrestling where it needs to be at this show, and it should be going off near the top of the card. We'll see where they place them. Hopefully they don't start them at the show. I think they deserve more respect than that, but that remains to be seen. We have our world title match. Ambrose and Ziggler. Ambrose is going to win. I don't care about this mysterious heat he has. Ziggler is going to lose and then further develop himself into a heel. They need heels on SmackDown. I don't think they're really going to go with Bray Wyatt. He's not even on the show. So it'll be interesting to see the outcome of this match. I predict Ambrose. Both of these guys want to prove they're the best, so I expect a very, very good match for the World Championship. And then, finally, the Universal Championship, Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. It's almost no secret that everybody believes Finn Balor is going to win. I believe that. I predict that. But again, you never know. Everybody's thinking it, so they might swerve us and give it back to Rollins. I don't see what good that would do. Unless they wanted to flip the script and maybe give Finn Balor a reason to be pissed and get mad and form up the Balor Club. However, they could probably do that either way. If Finn walks away with the straps and Gallows and Anderson walk away with the tag championships, as I predict they will, it would make perfect sense to align them somehow and maybe even turn Seth Rollins face. Everybody seems to want to like him when he came back from his surgery. He got a tremendous reaction from the crowd, and they just kind of squashed it the next day. Made him cut that promo on the fans, turned against us. I don't care about you fans. I didn't care about your fan mail, which I believe that that's how he truly feels, because he and he alone is responsible for his comeback, which is a great story. It's a great angle. It's a great way to play and have fun with the fans. But I think it's almost run its course, and maybe it's time for Seth to change it up a little bit. Maybe a good guy Seth versus a bad guy Finn Balor could be the future of this new era that you want to push so hard. Coming off the newswire at this minute, 2 more matches added to the SummerSlam card. Breaking news, we have Sami Zayn and Neville versus the Dudley Boys. That is interesting. This breaking news just coming to us now might put a kibosh on everything I said about which matches might be on the pre-show. Because along with that tag team match, we have a 12-man tag team match. The same match we saw on SmackDown, or actually didn't get to see on SmackDown because it went to commercial break. This one almost definitely is going to be on the pre-show. We have American Alpha, the Hype Bros, and the Usos taking on the Ascension, the Vaudevillains, and Breezango. I'm not going to give any predictions because these 2 matches don't really matter. They're just time filler matches. I'm very happy to see that Sami Zayn made it to the card. Very, very happy for him. Hopefully they don't put that match on the pre-show, although it probably will be. My whole previous lineup is all messed up now. But we'll see what they do. This card's setting up to be one of the biggest cards you will ever see. There's going to be a lot of wrestling. Looks like there's going to be a lot of good wrestling. Time to stop caring that there was no build. It's time to start anticipating what's shaping up to be one of the biggest cards we as wrestling fans as a whole might have ever seen, you guys. So strap in. Get ready for SummerSlam and NXT Brooklyn this weekend. It's gonna be a happening. Like the great Gorilla Monsoon used to say, don't you dare miss it and call yourself a wrestling fan. I'm Nick Nightmare. This has been the SledgeHammer Wrestling Show's first YouTube exclusive podcast. Thank you guys for joining us. Once again, if you liked what you heard here today, please click that like button. If you want to hear more, click the subscribe button. And come follow along with me on my little podcast journey. I'd like to hear from you. Please leave comments on the bottom. Let me know what you like, what you don't like. If you don't like my voice, you want to call me an ass, you want to call me a hammerhead, go ahead. That's what we're here for. In the words of the late, great Dusty Rhodes, happy trails to you until we meet again.